Welcome to another edition of the Resilient Living Podcast, a show dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and planet through liberation and independence, moving from surviving to thriving and living life on your own terms. So guys, I went and did a 14-day no sugar diet. I also went on a sober October, no alcohol on the weekends, no glass of wine, no beer, no nothing. I have some friends who like to drink a lot, right? And I found myself kind of following that pattern where, I started just indulging a little bit too much. And I kind of wanted to see, what would happen if I quit these things? And what I learned was much more than just health and, my body's chemistry, my biology of my body, how it reacted without sugar, to just how it really feels to actually be without something. And I want to equate that. I want to talk about both things, my physical, biological experience with no sugar, and how this transcends into so much of our living day-to-day habits, our lifestyle designs. But I think also when you don't live a life of freedom, when you're stuck in anything, I guess, in life, you get used to feeling that way. Whether it's good, you forget what it's like to do without, right? You just get to eat sugar, you get to do whatever you want. You forget what it is to have a rainy day. Or you feel so bad in your health and things like that, that when you do quit something, you go, wow, I really feel really good. So yeah, let's go off with what happened. So I did the first 2 weeks with no alcohol on the weekends. And one of my friends, somebody I know, actually started just, like I said, we started indulging a little bit more. And in fact, more than what we should. I felt like I was. And I wanted to set an example and help some people out. And I didn't go publish this on Facebook or anything like that. Just people that I know really close to me, tell them, hey, I'm doing this thing, man. And most of them were like, you are crazy. There's no way in heck I could do something like that. No coffee, no alcohol, no sugar. They were just like, wow, my body would probably die, right? So it happened to be where I inspired a few people to actually go with me, to do the same. And it actually made a difference by somebody, going out there and going against the grain and trying something different. Well, I'd like to tell you that it was relatively easy for me to not have alcohol. But again, I guess I'm not the heaviest of users like most people that I know. So it was relatively easy. And I got to say, I actually felt really good. I had a lot more mental clarity and things like that. Now, after the 2 weeks was going, I figured, why don't we add on sugar? Why don't we take that off to give our body a really good cleanse, a really good break, And so I packed that on. I like to beat the heck out of myself. And the sugar was intense, guys. There was mood swings, depression. I couldn't sleep that well. I had headaches. I had a whole slew of side effects that it was crazy. I had to take like 2 naps or 3 naps in one day where I think it was like the 3rd or 4th day in. I just very, very low energy. So that was all cool. That was all fine. I ended up doing it. It was very difficult to find foods that don't have sugar, by the way. I want to go into that. What I've learned is that sugar is probably one of the most craziest drugs we have on the planet. And I really consider it a drug. Some people may say, that's crazy. What are you talking about? Yeah, right. Well, you don't know, again, until I told you guys that you get off of something. And then try to go with a no sugar diet. No ketchup. Basically no condiments, no salad dressing. You can, that stuff that you buy in the store, right? Everything has sugar in it. I've actually found that some derivative or some ingredients are derivatives of other things. So it's not quite what you think it is, right? As far as what the label says. But it's a derivative of something else that's very similar. So maybe possibly it does have these weird chemicals or alcohols or sugars in it. It's just not called sugar. It's going under a different name. Very sleight of hands that these people do. So yeah, I ate a lot of meats. I love Cholula hot sauce. I ate eggs. For some reason, lots of protein. I wanted to get this off of my mind too before it goes too far, because we're already about a week and a half since I broke my fast. And for some reason, I remember waking up really craving the sugar again. Was the worst. And what I had to do is go and eat some more meats. I did some smoked tri-tips. I did some ground burger and things like that. Pre-made a bunch of stuff for myself. Chicken, hard-boiled eggs, as I said. Some vegetables, scrambled eggs with like mushrooms and things in it. And again, very, very, check everything, all the butter, all of those things. So it was only 2 weeks without sugar. And what I found, learning how to cook, like especially Asian foods, you got to have an equal balance of spicy with salty, vinegar and sweetness, right? You want that tart. And sugar I even stopped doing fruits, guys. Like no bananas, no nothing. And it was pretty intense. So I think I want to try this again at the first of the year, where I'm going to go maybe 6 weeks or 2 months with a full-blown fast. I did notice that I lost some weight, especially in my face, from maybe the sugar and the alcohol on the weekends. Made my face a little puffy. And yeah, I actually felt a lot better. The sugar was a little hard because I don't think I went long enough for the purge. But again, you guys, it was like pulling fingernails. Like I couldn't wait. One thing I would like to say too is that was right at Halloween. Not a good time to do a sugar fast, because I went trick-or-treating with my daughter and I ended up eating like probably about maybe, I'd say an entire candy bar, like a big Snickers. Like I tried all the little individually wrapped ones. I probably ate like a king-size Snicker bar. Just like my body was like, give me more. I was like, whoa, 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 man, let's put a stop to this. So my mind is blown away. Also, I'd like to mention before I forget, is I gave sugar to a friend of mine and my daughter, and I watched how their energy just went up. And then they were dancing around, having a good time. We threw a little party. And then I noticed how they just crashed, right? You get off of stuff, you start to notice things. And it was insane. And what I looked at, though, is calling this a drug, is that the mood swings and depression and things that I went through within the first 4 or 5 days, and the low energy, was that's got to be the basis of a lot of things that are hooking us. We're started off when we're children, right? I do the same thing every Saturday. I call it barbecue ice cream Saturday. That's my one day off, and I allow my daughter to drink a soda if she wants, or better, I try to give her like kombucha, homemade kombucha that I make, but I give her an ice cream, and we just kind of indulge for that day. And growing up eating sugar and everything our whole entire lives, I mean, it's in everything. I can imagine that's what strikes up the addiction. That's also what strikes up the highs and the lows. Your body, your sugar levels in your body spike up. Your energy spikes up, and then it spikes back down. Just like drugs, just like when you drink lots of alcohol, or I guess maybe you take like cocaine or something, where your pressure goes up. Your heart's pumping really hard. You're full of prosthetic energy, and then also the crash comes down. And you're just like, I feel like I want to die. So it does it very lightly and subtly with the sugar. So I think it's in the physical, biological, and the psychological well-being of our lives. You guys might think I'm crazy doing this, but just try it, man. It is really an eye-opener. I've never really realized how important, how significant sugar is, not just to our health, but our psychological well-being, everything across the board. What I also equate this to is that the sugar is like living the life that we have right now of convenience. And I look at where people are never challenged. People never had to get out of their comfort zones. In fact, we have a lot of millionaires and professionals where they say, go out there and take an ice bath, right? Expose yourself to extreme heat. That's what builds up your immune system. That's what also builds up your tolerance to be able to, if you're an athlete, to be able to have high endurance. So, and also to problem solve things, right? To get into business. Whenever you're in business or in life, there's a lot of things that start happening. You got to learn how to pivot, but we never really exercise those muscles to their full capacity. So a lot of millionaires and people who make money know that keep practicing and doing these things. Constantly get yourself out of your comfort zone to feel what it feels like, and to be able to acknowledge, like, hey, to keep that muscle basically, and that reflex, I would say, for lack of better words, a reflex of how to interact with these things. Because if we get away and we get ourselves completely comfortable, a problem presents itself, and then we're lazy, we're tired, and maybe we lost the muscle memory, right, of the motor skills on how to do these things, if that makes sense to you. So when I really started looking, I can't just have a normal freaking diet, right? It has to be all this stuff. That's like, my mind just goes off on everything. Sorry about that, but I really love it. So I started to look at the amount of freedom that I have in my life, and I start to, I wasn't drinking alcohol, and I was hanging out with some neighbors and stuff, and just listening and watching the problems. Which, by the way, watching people drink their problems away is pretty gross. I'd like to say it's pretty sad. I don't want to get controversial on this show, but it's just something that I noticed. Like, it doesn't solve problems. It makes stuff. It puts some lubrication on life, but those problems are still there, I think. But I kind of see this in the regular life, day to day that we live right now. Getting in our cars. There's always gas. There's in the gas stations. There's the water in the faucet. How many people around the world don't even have access to clean water? Yet here we take it for granted. We just turn on a faucet. It's always there. Have you ever gone to the faucet and turned on and there was no water, right? For days. Maybe your plumbing broke for a day and that was about it, or two at the max, right? But you can go to your neighbor's house and flip it on. What if the water was shut off? How would we feel? So, living a life of simplicity, which I do, minimalistic-ish, essentialism-ish, where I've simplified my life so far down, and it's a work in progress, mastering my money, mastering my time. I forget what it feels like to not have those things, to be reliant on somebody else to fix my problems, whether it be the government or my parents, or maybe I'd get an inheritance if I even had one, which I don't, alcohol, drugs, whatever. These things are going to fix myself, right? Whatever organization I'm attached to, where it's out of my hands, right? I don't know how deep I want to go on that one, but I think you might get the gist of what I'm saying, that we just rely on those things, right? That's supposed to fix everything. We don't have to do nothing, right? I see that when we get living that way, it's almost like we are on the high of sugars and drugs and alcohol and just complete self-neglect. And I think that if we step away from these things, the lifestyle designs that we have among us right now, this whole system that we live in, right? This whole rat race, we're so accustomed to it that we don't know what it's like to be out of it. There was a funny comedian was saying something like, do you think that where you live is it? Just zoom out. There's other states in United States that do things completely different. If you go out of United States into different parts of the world, people do things way different, right? From everything. I'll give you guys a for instance thing that really pisses off my mom is my kids. One of them likes to burp a lot. She's like, "Oh my God, just please tell me when you're going to burp so I can go outside." It's disgusting. In other parts of the world, if you don't belch after you eat a meal, it's kind of rude. You need to belch to let them know that, hey, this was really, really good. So there's just, I don't know, I thought that was a funny example there. But there's different things going on in different parts of the world. People have different values, ethics, and things like that. And it's just because we live in ours doesn't mean that that's the only way or even the right way to do everything every single time. Now, granted, we could take that to extremes, but I don't think we need to go there. So I want to leave you guys with what I felt then with all this, with the sugar diet and the alcohol death sober October. And I think that we should progress into the way we're actually living our lives right now, and to consider maybe we should cut off some of the convenient things that we're doing, because some of the convenient things we do is actually polluting ourselves. It's robbing our money, going out to eat all the time. It's not healthy for you. It's not healthy for your wallet. It's not healthy for the environment, the way the meat is raised, and it's not good for your community, right? There's a lot of mom and papa stores, wonderful, like say a burger joint that's open, but McDonald's comes and sets it up right next door and starts stealing a lot of the business, right? So, or at least partial of the business, Walmarts and things like that. I think people who are probably into the things I talk about on this show probably know what I'm talking about, A lot of these big corporations and things coming in, and yet we vote with our dollars and we support these things. So maybe we should consider going on a social media diet, a sugar diet, an alcohol diet, definitely drugs if you're on drugs, sugar diet, and also in a rat race diet. Try to live without some of these things and see, maybe the worst case scenario is, guys, you can go right back to it. It's not like it's leaving the planet. Maybe we should start focusing more on watching television and things like that and start educating ourselves on what we can do for our lives to gain more time, more freedom, more money, more happiness, more spirituality, whatever it is that you're into. Maybe we could start looking and voting with our time and our attention, and maybe accountability for the things that we're doing and not doing, and whatever it is you want to get out of and into or get ahead, guess what? I think that the person that's stopping you is you yourself. It is other people out there, but the main thing is you. The millionaires talk about this. I listen to a lot of their podcasts and shows and stuff, and that's what they said. What differentiates somebody who's successful is an obstacle or a problem gets put in their way. They start figuring out how they can get around that or how they can get rid of that obstacle. Whereas most people are educated or have the low self-esteem and maybe not the exercise and the brain power and the authority in themselves, the accountability to go, you know what, I think I can figure this out. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to take a risk. So that's what I've learned. I know that was might have been off a little bit. I'm not sure. But I hopefully I explained it in line with what I felt from not eating sugar and not drinking alcohol and going on this diet, and also realizing, as I said, that there's a beautiful life out there. There's everything we need for ourselves. We just have to reach out there and get that. And get off some of the things that we're on that are blocking us. And maybe we might get more time. Maybe you might get more money in your pocket. Maybe you might feel just happier, healthier without the sugars of life, right? You don't absolutely need to have sugar. It's just a thing that's out there. That's pretty much in everything. You can design your own life. So guys, I hope that, I know I was jumbling around on that one, but I hope that message found you guys well. I think that this one is a significant one. And I hope you guys try it. I hope you guys try yourselves a diet in whichever realm of these things, of the list of things that I was talking about today, and see how well it works for you. It's definitely worth it. Like I said, what's the worst thing that could happen? All you have to do is quit and go right back to what you were doing. Problem with me, once you make a significant amount of money and you're able to save a lot, you're able to take time off whenever you want and live a life of freedom, it's contagious and there's no going back. I am ruined. I am spoiled. There is no way that I could ever go back to living that life that I used to live, to be that person. I don't think that I can go back to just neglectfully eating sugar every single day now. And I don't think I can neglectfully give it to my children as well, to put it in their mouths, even though they're going to fight me tooth and nail on it. Because they're, well, so yeah, I can't continue to live with my eyes partially shut. They're wide open, and there's many questions and many things that I have that I want to explore and definitely share on the show. So guys, you know what to do. It's in the description below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Help me get the show off the ground. And if you like it, comment. Let me know what you guys want to hear about. So I'm over, out. Adrian Babshoff. See you guys on the next show. Bye.